Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, that's right, we have him again in studio on a game day. It is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor.
Not in Winnipeg.
Not in Winnipeg.
And by my own research, it is 14 degrees, or it was 14 degrees Fahrenheit in Winnipeg.
That's when the sun was
2.5 hours ago. It's probably much colder now.
That's when the sun was up.
Yeah, right. Well, they're 2 hours behind us. Sun's still, sun's probably still shining there.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know where most of like the states in America are, let alone our 51st state. I have no idea the geography of that place.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to keep making it a joke.
You will.
I will. Anyway, here we are. It's Flyers Jets tonight in Winnipeg. Really looking forward to this one because it's Ivan Fedotov in that. Honestly, that's why I'm looking forward to it. It's always interesting when it's never ordinary when Ivan Fedotov is in net. And we are going to take a look at the lineups in a second. But first, Charlie, I want to ask you about your Friday night.
Okay.
Because at around 9 o'clock, a little after 9 p.m. here, we see Scott Laughton pop up on Twitter in a Last Supper-like photograph that he tweets out.
So good.
And
they did a great job, by the way.
They really did. And like all of a sudden, Twitter's going nuts. Everyone's wondering, like, is this him just trolling? Is this him saying goodbye? All of that. So it's like 9 o'clock Friday night. You have to do a little extra work last night? Did you have to all of a sudden, all right, let me go into the office. Let me get into work mode here. How did it all play out for you?
No, it was actually quite easy. So I went out to dinner. I'm sitting on the couch, about to start the newest episode of Severance, and I get a text from a friend who sends me this image. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then I realized that, oh no, Laughton tweeted it. So it really wasn't that difficult because I just sent a text to one source and basically just asked, he's just kidding, right? Like, this is just him trolling. Because that was my thought. Like, go back to the picture. The reason why my initial thought was that this is obviously not serious is because, so you have Eric Johnson and Travis Konechny in the picture, yes. But then you have a bunch of team employees.
Yeah.
Like, you've got equipment managers, you've got trainers. And my thing was that there's no way that all of them would have been allowed to do. Like, if it was Laughton and all of his teammates, then I would be like, yeah, maybe. Like, this might be their way of doing this for fun. But there's no way that, like, Rick Bronwell, the head equipment manager, is going to be allowed to be part of, like, them basically jumping the team in terms of announcing a trade. That's
a good point.
I was like, there's no way. This is definitely a joke. But you have to check it out.
Sure.
So I text a source, and I immediately get back, nah, he's just screwing with people.
And, like, yes, that makes sense, but they do have a tremendous amount of respect for Scott Laughton. It is Keith Jones who is in charge, who has a decent sense of humor.
Yeah.
So perhaps maybe
I do not think
it's a possibility.
The thing with Keith Jones, though, is that we can talk about him having a sense of humor. He is so tight-lipped about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's not... I've heard on good authority that there were people that he used to gossip with all the time about the Flyers and now doesn't talk to them at all. Like, he still talks to them as friends, but not about the team. He doesn't give any information out anymore unless it's in a controlled interview environment. He is radio silent. I think he very much, probably partially because he was in the media.
Yeah, he knows how this stuff goes.
He knows how this stuff goes, and he knows, like, don't, like, feed them crap and keep them in the darks out of the Departed. Yeah. But, like, he's not going to give anybody anything. So the idea that a bunch of team employees are going to be allowed to basically jump the announcement seemed unlikely to me. But no, once I got the confirmation that it was not, like, he might get traded, but it wasn't that Laughton knew he was getting traded and decided to do something funny. This was, like, a joke. Clearly, once I found out about that, I'm like, I'm not even going to go on Twitter. I'm just going to let all you guys go crazy for the next 3 hours, knowing that this is a joke. And it was.
That's
It was
good
a great
stuff.
joke.
That's good stuff. Yeah, and just like if you listen to 32 Thoughts at all, or really any of the media pods, it's like the Flyers are gaining the reputation of like Lou. Like, yeah, man, we have nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you hear a rumor, there's a real good chance it didn't come from them. That's kind of just how
I don't
it goes.
think they're quite on that
it's not
level.
Lou, but
they're not quite on that level because they definitely do get stuff out there. Like Lou just doesn't tell anybody anything.
yeah, he signs guys and no one knows.
I do think the Flyers play the media. Like Lou just doesn't play. Lou is basically like, well, there's no game if I don't play.
Yeah.
The Flyers play the media game. The Flyers get information out there. They have their sources that they reveal things to try to push narratives, to try to, gauge interest on players by using the media. And that's probably the Jonesy effect.
Yeah.
Jonesy knowing that you can use the media. Whereas Lou just doesn't talk, period. But I do agree that when the Flyers are actually trying to do something, that stuff doesn't usually come out.
All right, so let's take a look at tonight's lineup because we actually do have a couple of changes for the first time in a while, but it's due to the Garnett Hathaway injury. Right. And we see Jackie Spiegel tweeted this out a little bit ago.
Yeah, that was confirmed that Hathaway, at the very least, is not playing tonight. Seems like he avoided major injury, but he's not playing tonight.
Yeah, so Nick Delorier steps into the lineup, and I thought we were going to go right back to Sam Ersson with 2 days off before the next game. But there are a ton of games coming up. Flyers have that 7-game homestand. They play every other day for like 2 weeks. So it is Ivan Fedotov tonight. And, man, he's having quite he does't qualify as a rookie because he's too old, but quite a rookie season for Ivan Fedotov. He's 4-8-3 with an .877 save percentage and a .326 goals against average. Charlie, you want to take a guess when the last time he won a game was?
I'm cheating because you told me this before.
You
told me before the show. So just give the answer.
It was Black Friday.
I didn't realize
He hasn't won since the November 29th was the last time that Ivan Fedotov recorded a win in a game he played.
He hasn't played in a ton of games.
He hasn't. He's 0-4-2 with an .869 save percentage in 8 games since then.
It's not very nice.
He's played 8 games since Black Friday, so it's not like he's had a ton of opportunity. But you would like to see a guy win more than 0 out of 8. That's just the way it goes.
I would agree.
In the month of November, Chuck, it really looked like he had turned things around. 4-1-1 with a .909 save percentage. He picked up all of his wins in the month of November, and since then, it's gone. It's gone pretty poorly.
I mean,
.869.
I don't know if I would say, look, he's clearly not establishing himself as an above-average backup, but I don't think there have been many games over that run where I could straight up say, he's been horrendous. I don't think he's been as bad as he was at the start of the season.
No.
I just don't think he's a very good NHL goalie.
I don't think he's an NHL goalie, period. But here we are. I
don't think Aleksei Kolosov is an NHL goalie at this point. I think Fedotov is a below-average NHL backup.
I guess so. Perhaps you get him a little more experience. Maybe he could give you something. But outside of November, it's not like he's been good. There have been a lot of games that we've been like, you know what? I think he was better than his numbers tonight. But I think it was last time Kelly and I talked, last time he played, Kelly did postgame, and she's like, how many times can you say that?
Yeah.
How many times?
It's a fair point.
Every time he plays, it's like, well, then he wasn't.
It's a fair point. I'm looking at the games that he's played since that win. Okay, so he wins the game against the Rangers on Black Friday. Then he gets the one period against the Panthers. That's the game where then he gets essentially put in mothballs for a month. He plays the January 5th game against Toronto, the first one. I thought the first one he played pretty well, especially given the fact that he hadn't played in a month. Okay, that's a perfectly fine game. Second game, I didn't think he played well, but he gave up a couple weak goals that he was a big reason why they lost that game. So that's one bad game. He loses 3-2 to the Blue Jackets, stops 26 of 28 shots. Not his fault.
Normal.
Yeah. Then loses 3-1 to the Islanders on January 24th. I believe I didn't watch that game. I think it was off that night, so I can't speak to the eye test. The numbers, though, 24 saves on 27 shots. Not terrible. Not amazing. Not terrible. He comes in, I believe, in relief against the Devils, so that's not a start.
Yeah.
The Islanders game, they lose 3-0, 25 saves on 28 shots. passable.
Normal.
And then the Washington game, they lost 4-3. He was bad.
He's bad.
He was bad. So we're talking about out of the games since the Florida game where he lost his job for a month. I would say 2 games that he's been outright bad, and the rest of them he's been passable backup NHLer quality.
Passably, like you see a game they lose 3-0, 3-1. It's like, well, what could he have done?
Yeah,
maybe he wasn't great, but you can't win 0-0.
2 games, 2 games since his last win where I can say, he's like, he did not do his job well. The other games, he did his job fine. He didn't steal them a game, but he didn't lose them the game, I guess is the way I'll put it.
Yesterday, as the show was winding down in the last few minutes, we talked about Sam Ersson, how many starts he's going to get. We talked maybe it's play dependent. If he keeps playing well, he'll get all of them. And if he doesn't, maybe they split it up a little bit. We'll see. Is there anything Fedotov do you think can do to earn more time? Or is this the coach really doesn't trust him, but you can't play Sam every single night? Do you think, what do you think
I think it's more
the
that.
opinion is of the coach
I
in
think,
regards to Fedotov?
I think he can put himself in position where, because I asked John Tortorella this week about Ersson's future usage, about the idea of, is the difference between this month or this year and last year that this year, if Ersson falters, you will give him a break, whereas last year you felt like you couldn't. He basically said, look, it depends upon where we're at in the standings, if we're in the playoff race, if we're not. There's a lot of factors. But I would say that if Fedotov goes out there tonight and plays well, that probably makes it more likely that if Ersson has a bad game, they would go to Fedotov, rather than if Fedotov goes out there tonight and gives up 5 goals. If Ersson has a bad game next week, they still might go back to Ersson because Torres has no confidence in Fedotov. So this is, I wouldn't say it's an opportunity for him to jump Ersson. It's not. It's very much not.
No.
But it's an opportunity for him to get to the point where he can actually get some games if Ersson falters.
You want to hear something kind of interesting?
What's that?
I just got this note. Brenna just sent it to me. Jackie Spiegel just tweeted, Aleksei Kolosov is the backup tonight.
Oh, so he might get in game.
And that's honestly, I think this speaks to, one,
they're just giving Ersson the full day off.
Ersson needs the rest.
Yeah.
And with Fedotov in there,
there's a chance they might have to go to the backup. Yeah.
Always a chance. And since you want to give him the night, well, here's Kolosov's chance to maybe get in if something happens to Fedotov.
And there's also the fact of, if Fedotov's playing so bad as to get pulled, the Flyers aren't winning anyway.
Yeah,
so you might as well get Kolosov to work.
Yeah, it's a fake game at that point.
Exactly.
That means it's 4-0 after the first.
Yeah.
And
it's not like they're playing against the Penguins. It's not like they're playing against San Jose. If they go down 4-0 against Winnipeg, it's over.
Yeah, it's Hellebuck.
Yeah, they're dead.
They're winning the President's Trophy. The Flyers are winning 3-0 tonight. That is exactly what's going to happen. But I do want to get to a positive rookie we can talk about. It's Matvei Michkov, the recently named Rookie of the Month for the month of February. So everyone gets to hear me say it one more time. 5 goals, 5 assists in 7 games. I do find it very fun. They played 7 games. It was obviously 4 nations shortened. They took 13 days off or whatever it was.
It wasn't the busiest month.
It wasn't. But he is.
It's already a short month.
It is. Michkov does become the first multi-time winner this season. He won it back in October. Celebrini wins in November. Hudson won in December, and Wolf won in January. So now everyone
who's in the mix,
has won it once, and now they're cycling back to the guy who won it first. I think that's kind of funny.
Celebrini would therefore be the guguy who wins in March if we continue on this pattern.
So there we go. Michkov, obviously, hats off for Michkov. Continues the multi-point game streak is at 3. He's looking to extend it to 4 tonight. I'm rooting for him, honestly. We talked about this actually as soon as the show ended yesterday. We know how crazy competitive Michkov is. He's introducing his the player's favorite thing basket on that little video they put out on Twitter before the carnival, and it's ping pong balls and ping pong paddles. It's I like ping pong. I like to win. It's that's it. These are the words he knows. I like to win, and he is super competitive. While it would be, like we said yesterday, very cool for the Flyers to have their very first Calder Trophy winner, all that, I kind of started thinking, what if he doesn't win and that's fuel for the rest of his career? So I wasn't the best rookie, huh? Well, I'm going to be the best player every other season of my career. Like I kind of like that motivation for him. It would be cool if they won, but if he didn't, maybe that makes him even better.
It could. At the very least, I think it'll give him extra motivation for this summer. And this is a big summer for him. I am expecting, we talked about this as well after the show yesterday, I'm expecting really, really big things from Matvei Michkov next season. And part of the reason why I am expecting those big things is because I do believe the biggest reason why he's been very good as a rookie. He's having a very, very good rookie season. But the big reason why he isn't, blowing the doors off point per game, looking like one of the best offensive weapons in the NHL, in my opinion, is because he's not properly conditioned yet for the NHL. You give him 3-4 months of working his tail off, and we know he has the work ethic, we know he has the drive on an actual NHL training program. I think he's going to show up next year and just blow the doors off everybody. I'm fully expecting that. I am expecting, and again, he's been very good as a rookie. Sure. I'm expecting a big leap next season from Michkov.
You just look at it, like, yes, he had that 26-game stretch with 7 points, and that's kind of tanked his overall numbers. But first 27 games, 27 points, and coming out of the break with this rest, he's killing it. He's on freaking fire. Yeah. He hasn't been held to 1 point yet. He's got 2 or 3 points in all 3 games out of the break. Yeah, if he can find a little consistency, and I think that comes with the conditioning, learning the league, like all those things that you just don't have as a 19, 20-year-old rookie, I think we can expect big things, whether he wins or loses the Calder Trophy.
But given the fact that I think this is such a big summer for him, if he gets that little bit of extra motivation by not winning the Calder, it's not a bad thing.
Little bit.
Wouldn't be the worst outcome. It'll be a nice consolation for fans if they don't get the first Calder winner in franchise history.
Yeah, well, Luchenko can win it next year. Yeah. All right, let's get to the bets. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Just won tonight, Charlie, and we are betting against Ivan Fedotov.
You smashed that the second you saw Fedotov was starting this game.
I did, yes. And now, because the problem being, we saw in that Florida game a few months ago, all right, he gives up 2 kind of weak goals in the first period. In comes the backup. Well, tonight the backup is Aleksei Kolosov, so I think that strengthens my position here rather than it being Sam Emerson. Winnipeg Jets over 3.5 goals. Team total over 3.5 at +110. If you're feeling especially pessimistic about Ivan Fedotov's performance tonight, over 4.5 is +280 for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets' offense is 3rd in the league. They average over 3.5 goals per game, so they have to do what they normally do, basically against one of the league's leakier goaltenders. And Fedotov hasn't played since February 6th when he gave up 4 goals on 18 shots to the Caps. It's not exactly... I'm not backing on him being sharp, especially to start tonight. He's given up 7 goals in the last 46 shots he's faced. Yeah. I don't love his chances tonight against a really freaking good Winnipeg Jets team.
Yeah, one thing that you should keep an eye on for this game is, and I'm sure the broadcast will talk about this, the Jets have the best power play in hockey.
Yeah.
It's about 30%. The Flyers' penalty kill has been charitably inconsistent this season. Reality, it's been bad most of the season.
Yeah.
If the Flyers want to have any chance of winning this game, they just got to stay out of the box.
They do. And it's going to be tough because the Jets are really good. You're going to be chasing this game if you let them kind of dictate the pace of it. The Jets are 42-15-3. They are leading the President's Trophy race. Their 87 points is 9 ahead of Dallas for the Central Division lead.
And Dallas is a great team too.
They're really freaking good. Yeah. And the Jets are just kind of clear of everybody outside of the Capitals right now in the President's Trophy race.
And a big part of that, obviously, is Hellebuyck. Because we talked about this all year about the fact that the league save percentages are down.
Yeah.
The overall average is around 900 if you're talking about goalie average save percentages. Hellebuyck's at 926. Hellebuyck is basically producing results as if it's still
4 years ago.
2014, 2015. That's the kind of season he's having. It's just he's doing it in an environment where, it's good to be 9-10. If you're at 908, 910, you're a darn good NHL goalie, and he's at 926.
We watched him at Four Nations. I think he is easily the USA's best player. Maybe not. I mean, like Austin Matthews. They have some awesome players, but like he's the only one you can go definitely the best player at his position.
It's true.
And you're looking at the year.
Quinn Hughes, you could argue, obviously he wasn't at the
Quinn
tournament,
didn't play.
but also there's a fair debate on whether it's Hughes or Makar.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would argue right now that anyone is better than Hellebuyck.
You look at the years Shesterkin's having. You look at the years Sorokin's having.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know, man. Hellebuyck blew everyone away in Vezina voting last year. He's going to do the same thing again this year. Yeah. That makes him the best. Like that just absolutely makes him the best.
Right now, it's us.
And the Flyers are going to they're going to have a tough time tonight. That's my guess. But we've been wrong before.
Hey,
you know, like
they should lose this game, which means they'll win it, right?
Yeah, that's very much who they were last year.
Yeah, it was.
Like games against Colorado, games against Dallas, like. They just kept showing up big in these spots, I will say.
And then they blew it at the end of the season against a bunch of bad teams.
Then they can't go out and beat like anybody for the final month of the season, and that's just the way it goes. But it was a lot about goaltending then. We'll see how the goaltending holds up tonight. I will say, when that was who they were so much last season, it had so much to do with the penalty kill too.
Yeah.
Like goaltending and the penalty kill was kind of what was their competitive advantage a lot of nights, and
at least until the
just hasn't been. This penalty kill, we give Bradshaw a ton of credit for what they did last year on the PK, and you look at how basically every defenseman has kind of beat expectations for the most part, or at least shown progress in their careers.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do we kind of just give him a pass on the PK this year? Because it's like, yeah, we have no centers and we have no goaltending. How do you kill penalties without those two things?
Well, I don't give him a pass. The penalty kill is ranked 17th, so it's not basement level.
Not terrible.
It's mid-tier. The big thing that's been missing this year for the penalty kill is that they're not creating.
It's not dangerous.
It's not dangerous anymore. It's not the power kill of last year. And I think a lot of that probably is driven by the fact that teams have adjusted to the Flyers. That it was such a unique strength of the Flyers last year that opposing power plays are probably attacking them differently and scheming to prevent the Flyers from burning them with shorthanded chances, particularly when it's Laughton and TK because they're so good at it.
Little less D to D, a little less cross ice, a little less long shots, and it's like, well, that's where turnovers come from. Yeah. So let's eliminate those things, and we'll just have the puck a lot. And if you're in the offensive zone, you're going to score more. Yeah. That's kind of the way it's going.
So no,
this year.
I don't ding Bradshaw too much. That said, like
we kill Rocky for the power play.
Well, that's because the power play has never been good under Rocky. Whereas with Bradshaw, we've seen it be very good under Bradshaw. We know he can do a good job at that because he did it last year. We watched it happen with our own two eyes. And this year, I know I was critical of it. I called it inconsistent at best a few minutes ago. It's had moments. It's had stretches where it's been pretty good. It's just also had stretches where it's been pretty bad. It can be exploited. And this is a power play that thrives on exploiting your weaknesses.
And, really, like we've said all year, the only thing that matters is goaltending. And for a lot of this season, the Flyers have not got good goaltending. And how often it's like, oh, well, your goalie has to be your best penalty killer. Well, our goalie hasn't been our best anything.
Yeah,
so it's hard for me to kill Shaw, but it is this. When you're looking at last year, I just say what do the Flyers do? They're winning these games. They're in the playoff race. What do they do better than everyone? Their penalty kill is legitimately elite.
Yeah,
and that's so far from the case at this point.
It's one of the reasons why they're not where they were last year. Obviously, goaltending is a big part of it, especially comparing to where the goaltending was from October through January of last season. The penalty kill was a strength this year. I don't know if it's quite accurate to call it a weakness, but it's certainly not a strength. Yeah. It is just a middle of the road, whatever. Sometimes they kill us, sometimes they don't sort of thing. One thing I did want to mention, unsurprisingly, lines are the same.
We just got them from Jackie.
Yeah. Only difference is Nick Delorier in for
Delorier steps in for Hathaway,
and then obviously Fedotov in. But unsurprisingly, they kept the lines the same.
Yeah, Cates with Forster and Brink. We know they don't want to switch that up. Coots with Tippett and Michkov. Well, that line's been killing it outside of not getting to play the final 5 minutes the other day. They've been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I'd like to you were listening before the show to Torts's media availability, and he said he wanted to get Konechny and Kuzmenko like together. He liked that pairing idea, and while that line isn't producing the way the top two have been the last few games, I do like what I've seen out of them. We saw TK set up Kuzmenko with that power play goal. We saw them connect for the disallowed high stick goal. There have been opportunities for these two, and Laughton's out there, and we're the guy we're trying to trade. Let's put him with our highest scoring player and see how that goes.
Might be part of it.
I think that's part of it. I kind of like this pairing. I want to see TK and Kuzmenko together. It seems like this is the leftover pieces line, but I don't know. I kind of dig it.
I do think that they're looking at Kuzmenko as someone who, if they were to re-sign, they would be re-signing him to be a top 6 forward.
Of course.
That would be their view. It's like, we're re-signing you to a 1-2 year deal as a stopgap top 6 forward until we can find and go out and sign a real top line guy to be a star. He's like the in a way similar to like Morgan Frost. Morgan Frost is the scoring center because they just didn't have anybody else who was a scoring center. So it's like, all right, you're that guy until we can find somebody. And then eventually they decided, well, we don't want to pay you $4.5 million a year on your next contract, so buy Morgan. But with Kuzmenko, if they're going to re-sign him, they're going to re-sign him to maybe be their first or second line left winger. If that's what you're deciding, you might as well put him in that role and see if he can do it. And if he can't do it, then you don't re-sign him. And if he can do it, then you consider it. But it would be stupid to sign him to do something you didn't actually test him out and watch him try to do it before you made the decision,
All right, I believe we have a couple of super chats to get to before we wrap up, so let's get to those before puck drop. First one from JH says, let's try it again, Hattie for Maddie. If he can have another, not even multi-point, multi-goal game, that's like he is just playing at a level. Is he better right now than he was in the first, October, November? Have you seen more out of Michkov these last couple games than you did in the first month or two?
It's still a pretty small sample.
Yeah, it's 3 games.
This could just be a hot streak. But I do think that his game now is more complete. It's still far from what it's going to be, I think. He's going to tighten things up. He's going to be not a two-way player, but he's probably going to be more conscientious in certain areas. But I do think that he is not freelancing as much and, going off system as much as he was in November, even when he was scoring a ton. I think this is a little bit more refined version of Michkov, while also still having all of the offensive ability that we saw in November and early December. All
right, let's see from JH. Again, Scotty trade or top tier troll job confirmed.
Tier troll job.
Yep. That's good stuff
He still might get traded, but that was a troll job.
Yeah, it didn't happen at that time. And I think when you were listening to Torts, he said it was EJ set it up.
That would not shock me even a little
Eric
bit.
Johnson's freaking hilarious.
He's very funny.
I am looking forward to his run on pre and post game live. Unfortunately, we're here, so I don't get to watch it, but we see him at intermission. I'm looking forward to him because he's funny. He's absolutely going to have a media career. I feel like that's why he's here. Oh, the team owned by Comcast. Yeah, I want to play for them so I can go right up into the booth.
I don't think that was a driving force behind why he was willing to go here, why he was excited. But I do think it's probably something he's thought about since.
All of our guys go national. It's not dumb if you have those sort of post-playing career aspirations. It's not a dumb thing to wrap up here or be familiar with this audience. Look at all the national guys. A lot of them came from here. All right, VO Noob, as these keep rolling in, so we're trying to wrap up. Fedotov shutout, Michkov and Kuzmenko goals. Russian madness, let's effing go.
Sure.
Why not? Mad Russians all around.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
22 games left. Let's see all the weird stuff. All right, one here from Vince. What's going on, Vince? Flyers win tonight.
Vince, I'm so shocked that you're optimistic.
You know, and
it's so out of character.
I'm surprised he's not calling a Noah Cates hat trick because he's such a Noah Cates fan now.
He's a big Noah Cates guy now.
And finally, from Obi-Wan, he just says, Hey, what's up, Obi?
Hey, Obi-Wan.
Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, hey, I'm glad things are going good in the Force, man.
Yeah, man. It's Force Ghost talking to us right now. All right. That's it for us. This has been PHLY Flyers Pregame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here on YouTube. We'll be back with post-game as soon as this thing goes final. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. It's where I do all my in-game tweeting. And follow the podcast as well, just for funsies. Search PHLY Flyers. All right, I am Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Until postgame, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.